Dave Burkett here, along with Jeff Seidel from Off Camera. Sorry about the delayed entrance. Got a interesting little setup in the press
Just
box
a
over here.
dramatic entrance.
Yeah, right. More dramatic than the Lions were today. 20-7 losers to the Minnesota Vikings behind us. And Jeff, 6 straight losses for this team now. We'll get into your column here in a sec. I know you identified and debunked several of the reasons, I guess, the explanations that the Lions could have for why they've struggled. But the thing that really struck me after the game, Matt Patricia, it kind of flew in the face of what Bill Parcells, one of his mentors, he comes from the Bill Parcells coaching tree, said. And Bill Parcells was famously credited for saying, you are what your record says you are. And Matt Patricia said, we're not what our record says we are, or the players think that at least. And I don't know, to me that it just doesn't sit well, I guess, when you've lost 6 straight, you're 3-9-1. It sounds like excuses. You are what your record says you are in this league, whether you like it or not.
Every coach in the world says you are what your record says you are. Remember what records matter. This team wasn't good. 9-7 wasn't good enough, and that's why they made this change. And it's just going backwards. The one argument was they've had some leads in every single game, and they've kept it close. But in this game, they got their butts kicked.
Right.
I mean, it was 17-0 at halftime. It felt like it could have been way more. I think Minnesota took their foot off the gas a little bit.
It certainly felt like that. Yeah.
And then they scored a meaningless touchdown in the last whatever. So
to avoid their first shutout since 2009, a decade ago. But really, you brought up a good point. Look, the Lions, Matt Patricia replaced a coach that had won 9 games the 2 previous seasons.
And had been in the playoffs 2 of the previous 4 seasons. And now Patricia's talking about we had to rebuild the foundation.
Right.
What foundation? The foundation was 9-7. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's the part that doesn't fly with me either, right? You move on from 9-7, and I realize you're building a program. There's lots that has to go on. No one expects you to be in the Super Bowl year 1 or even year 2, but you can't take a humongous step back like they have this year. I mean, Matt Patricia has won 9 games so far in his tenure. That's what are we looking at here? I guess it's 29 games. He's won 9 of 29 games. Jim Caldwell won 9 each of the previous 2 seasons, and Bob Quinn thought that was enough to fire him. So that's why it doesn't jive. Like, you should not be 3-9-1. And I realize there are some valid excuses that Matthew Stafford is hurt. That's one that I will give them.
But they had lost 4 of 5 with Stafford starting. This losing streak, or this losing epidemic, started with Stafford starting. The offense in several of these games has not been the problem. It wasn't this. The offense was bad today. I mean, but I don't buy that excuse. And the offense has had most of the injuries, and it's been the offense that's been. I'm getting all confused.
Yeah, the defense has had a lot of injuries.
The defense has had a lot of injuries. I'm just frustrated.
No,
I'm like,
let me jump in here. I mean, I think you're right that this streak started with Matthew Stafford on the field. I mean, the offense was playing really well, and Matthew Stafford was playing good football. But and I'd like to believe deep down, right? Matthew Stafford is there. You beat Washington, right? You win on the road against Washington. Maybe you beat the Bears on Thanksgiving, but there's no guarantee because you hadn't won many of these games to begin with. I mean, yes, they had led in a lot of these games. We've all written and talked about that, but they didn't win a lot of those games, and that's what good teams do. And so there was always something holding these Lions back.
And so all he's accomplished to this point, all he's holding it on is we're playing hard, and it's just not enough. And I don't understand this concept of don't look at our record, look at how we're playing, and that's not it.
It's a sleight of hand because they don't want you to look at the record. That's what it is. I mean, all right. So look, I think this game, I think we can all agree that the Lions never really stood a chance coming into it, right? I don't know how upset you can be about this game other than it drives home the point of the things that we've seen all along. But third string quarterback on the road, a team they don't match up well with. It's something that they weren't going to win to begin with. But you laid out, or you answered, I guess, rebutted several of the theories, I guess, as to why they need time or what has gone wrong. Explain the column and explain maybe the 1 or 2 reasons that were the most valid, I guess, that you had the toughest time rebutting.
Well, a lot of people are saying you can't fire somebody in year 2, and they need the 3rd year. And some people point to the 49ers, who I believe they were, it's all in the column, all the numbers. Yeah. I believe it was 6-10 and then 3 and whatever.
Very rough year last year when Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt. He got hurt early in the season. They stuck with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, and now they're here.
Playing great. But for every example you can find like that, you can find a John Fox type thing. You can find who was fired after 3 years.
Right.
There's also the Bill Belichick argument saying, boy, there might be a great coach here, and he got fired in Cleveland. Come on. Tom Brady's not falling in his lap. I mean,
yeah, I think you have to take Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, New England, everything that those guys have touched out of the equation when it comes to anything, because that is a unique situation, the best dynasty that we have ever known in the NFL. I mean, shoot, I don't know, maybe you can go back to, the 40s or 50s, but in modern NFL, and I don't know when we'll see that again. So I think you take that out of the equation. And look, in general, I think you're right I think, the argument is very valid that it does take more than 2 years to build a program. And there's no doubt that this program is not where they want it to be in terms of the talent on hand or how far into the systems they are. I mean, everything really. But that's no excuse for what's gone on through 13 games here this year.
If we were seeing progress, I wouldn't be saying anything. But this is regression, and it's regression year after year after year now. So
it's been 29 tough games under Matt Patricia here for the Detroit Lions, and another tough one today. They've lost 6 straight, 3 games left, and let's close it with this. Tampa next week, at Denver a couple days before Christmas, the week after that, and then they close it at home against the Green Bay Packers. And look, frankly, the Lions were giving away tickets to the Tampa game. I expect that Week 17 game, there's going to be a lot of Packers fans in the stadium. Do the Lions win another game from here on out? Right now, 3-9-1. They're 5th in the draft order. If they get another win, obviously they're going to fall a couple spots. If they don't, they're probably going to get up a spot or two because the Dolphins are playing pretty good football. Who knows what happens with the Giants or Washington, but do the Lions win another game?
I would say no, except I remember a year ago we were standing there in Lambeau. I think it was Lambeau. Where they won the last game of the year when the Packers. So out of those 9 games that he's won, one of those was against the Packers when they didn't even show up for that.
Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Yep, very last game of the season.
So I'm going to say they win one of these games to mess up their draft.
That would be typical Lions fashion. I mean, look, I think I'm probably on record as saying that I don't know that the Lions are going to win another game. It just things have not been going well for them. But, we'll see. I mean, Jameis Winston got hurt today. I don't know if he's going to play next week. That may be a good or a bad thing for the Lions. He throws all kind of picks. But that offense in Tampa is really good. Denver, not a very good team, though the rookie quarterback Drew Lock's playing okay. They have a shot the next couple weeks, and maybe if the Packers have something wrapped up, they're not going to play Aaron Rodgers in Week 17. So you don't totally rule it out, but I certainly wouldn't be holding my breath counting on it. Like Jeff said, maybe that messes up the draft order. Maybe that's how it ends up for the Lions. That'll do it for us out here at US Bank Stadium. The Lions lost 20-7 to the Minnesota Vikings at 6 straight. 3 more games left in this dismal season. For Jeff Seidel, I'm Dave Burkett, Freep.com.